joke, and I'll continue on from there. So we will go into the demo. So let's see how I can do this. Cool. So you can follow along if you want, but if you don't want to follow along, that's fine too. I just have a directory here called Git Demo, and it's don't pay attention to that. It's not what we're going to be using. But let's go ahead and create a new directory called what should we call it? Demo 1. CD into demo 1. Okay, so this is an empty directory. We want to start adding Git. You don't always have to clone from GitHub in order to start using Git. You can actually just initialize your own Git repository inside of here. And the way you see that is by doing an ls-a. You can see that .git is there. And .git is a directory. It's not a file. So if we wanted to see what is inside of .git, this is what's inside of .git. I'm not going to bother explaining each of these because that's a little bit more advanced. There's a lot of things that have to do with blobs and hashing that I'm not going to go into for the sake of this intro tutorial. But yeah, so right now I'm going to demonstrate two different kinds of commits that you can have when working with multiple branches. I'm going to go through a fast forward commit, and that is where you essentially are adding commits on one branch, switch over to a different branch, add some commits, and then you go back to the initial branch and you just merge the thing in. You typically don't have any conflicts in that scenario. But then I will do another scenario where it'll be a merge commit. So you have commits happening on both branches, and then you need to basically merge one of the branches into the other. And it'll look a little bit different, especially in the graph. So to start off, let's go do the fast forward. So I'll start by making a couple files and adding them. So once they're kind of added, you can see that their current file 1 is in staging. So we commit this. So now we can see if we do a git log, which git log, that'll show you your history of commits, --one line, -- graph. You can kind of see what's happened. So it's not a lot. So I'm going to add some more commits here. And I'm just doing this for the sake of example, but now we can see that we have three commits in the master branch. So let's say we want to implement a feature. We would do this by checking out to a different branch. And so here we could do a git checkout -b, and we'll call it feature. And the -b flag, that just specifies that this is a new branch and we want to immediately check out to it. You could accomplish the same thing by doing git branch feature that creates a new branch called feature, and then doing git checkout feature. But this is just combining those two things into one. So now we are in the feature branch. So we will go ahead and add some theoretical features. So all touching does, by the way, is just it's creating the file and not adding anything to it. So these are just blank files for now.
How did you get feature to show up next to demo 1 on the left of your $?
Yeah, so that's I believe this is in my .vim RC or in my .bash RC, but I can try to find it and send you a link to it. There's some pretty cool things you can do with your terminal in terms of how it shows up. Like another thing you can probably notice is that I don't have a whole path here. It just shows the current directory. So I'll definitely share that at the end.
Sweet.
Yeah, but thank you for bringing that up. And if anyone else has questions, please feel free to speak up or just say it in the chat.
How do we, so like if we say we like add something, but we forget like what we had added, and like before we hit commit, like the stage before like like in between adding and committing, is there a command that'll allow us to like see what's like to be committed, like what we have so far? Git status. Oh, okay, I see Finley just typed
Yeah,
that.
yeah. Git status will always tell you what's happening. And for example, I'll just do it right here, actually. Oh, actually, let's do git log one line first. This is so you can see all your commits. So essentially what we have here, we can see that there's 3 commits on the master branch and there's 2 commits on the feature branch. But yeah, git status, we can see that there's no changes. So it's going to say empty. It's going to be clean. And right now we're going to show you the fast forward commit. So if we just check out back to master and let's add one more, I guess, commit and master. So right now it's just a bunch of commits, nothing really special going on. Okay, so let's see what we have here. So you can see that master has no knowledge of the commits that were made in the feature branch because it's a different branch. But say we wanted to merge the features back into master, we would accomplish this by doing git merge feature from master. So just make sure whenever you're merging one branch into another, the branch that you want to merge into your current branch, just like be inside the one that you want to be in later on, I guess, if that helps. Oh, interesting. Okay. This actually may be the merge commit. Oh, okay. Yeah, this is the merge commit. Sorry about that. But so whenever you do a merge commit, different computers will handle this differently. Sometimes it'll just open in Vim. Other times you can specify you want to open in VS Code. But all you have to do here is write a merge commit message. So merging feature to master and save it. And then you can just close out of it. Cool. And now, so that was a merge commit. And now if we look at the graph, we can see that there's this cool thing happening where we actually have 2 branches going out and coming back together. And that's what a merge commit is. Yeah, essentially what a fast forward commit is, if I didn't do that last commit, adding file 4 when I went back into master, then if I merged, it would just be a straight line. And then it's that's a fast forward commit. And the reason why it's called a fast forward commit is because instead of having this thing where you have 2 branches coming together, all master needs to do is just like go straight ahead because there's no 2 branches, I guess. But yeah.
So that's so add feature 2 is where we made our feature branch, and then on that feature branch we created feature 1 and file 4, and then we merged all of that back into master, and now it's all together on the main branch.
Yeah, so where we created feature, we actually did it right before we did feature 1. And so we created feature, we added feature 1, we added feature 2, and then we went back into master. And so if we merged right there at that point, then that's just a fast forward commit. You wouldn't have like Visual Studio Code opening up. But then instead of doing that, we added file 4. And so that's now we have like 2 different branches that we kind of have to put together.
Right. Okay.
Yeah. So great. So let's, I don't think, here, let me see if I can hide that. Cool. Cool. So now what I'll actually be showing you is an example of forking your code. So basically what people in Cal Poly Bootcamp are doing for Bootcamp, you should be making a fork, not a clone. You'll make a fork, then a clone of this initial repository, Bootcamp Grocery Prep. And so for this, I'm going to CD out of this. Let's go here. So, and what you're going to want to do, instead of going here to immediately clone, you want to go and fork the repo to your own account. So this is what that looks like. You can see that it's your name and then Bootcamp Grocery Prep, not Hack for Impact Cal Poly Bootcamp Grocery Prep. And to get this onto your local machine, you can go ahead and do a git clone. Just copy it over. So to start off, say, you're making changes, Bootcamp. And it already comes, with some Git tracking. And so say you're making changes in your fork of Bootcamp Grocery Prep, but there's been a bunch of changes. Maybe some pull requests were merged into the main repository. So back in here, so I'll go back to the original one. So for the sake of the argument, changes were made here, and I'll do that actually. So I'll just add my name. I'll get rid of this later, so don't bother pulling this and commit those changes. Yep. So now whatever changes that we made, maybe in README, would have a merge conflict if we tried to make a pull request and merge into this code base. So essentially what you want to do in order to avoid a merge conflict is pull, like Ethan said earlier. You want to pull from this repo. Now, how can you, from one repo, your own fork, pull from another repo? And that's where this concept of remotes come in. So if you run git remote -v, you can see your current remote, and that is by default called origin. And so that refers to the repository that this code base kind of like refers to on GitHub. And so you can make multiple remotes. So say you are deploying to Heroku, like you can make a Heroku remote. For our purposes, we're going to make an upstream remote. And it's called upstream because that's like, I guess the concept is that it's this like master repository that this repository is only a fork of. And so in order to set, git remote add, you can run this command git remote add. And this is probably what you will all want to do that are in the Cal Poly Bootcamp, is do a git remote add and then the link. So you just take this link, git remote add upstream, specify the name. Cool. So now if we do git remote -v again, we can see that we have two remotes, one referencing origin and then another referencing upstream. And so right now, if I showed you README, we obviously don't have my name in there because we didn't pull the changes yet. Sorry, that's showing up. But if we just do a git pull upstream master, remember this command because you're going to probably use it frequently. Oh, wait. Oh, it's main. Yeah. So GitHub doesn't use the word master anymore. They changed it to main. So just remember that from now on. It happens a lot where you get the two words mixed up. And so now we are able to pull from another repo, essentially. So we look inside our README, it shows the name. So we pulled that. Okay. So that was that. Now, let's say this is the other thing you're going to do. You're going to make your own website, essentially. I'm not going to make a website in 5 minutes. Instead, I'm just going to maybe make some more changes to the README just for the sake of this tutorial. Ethan Zimbelman, I'll just add his name. Okay, great. So we added our changes. We do a git status. We can see that there's been changes. It's in the working directory. So we want to add them in order to get to staging. So we just add it, git add readme. We're going to get status again. We have it in the staging area. We can add a commit. Cool. So now if we do a git push origin master, because origin refers to our fork. Oh, not master, sorry. So this will push to our fork. It's not going to push to this link, but you can see the changes will be reflected here. So now we have both of our names. And so now if you wanted to say, make an open source contribution or just, have these changes be reflected in the original code base, what you would do is you see this right here. This branch is one commit ahead of hack for impact cal poly main. This is kind of a shortcut. You could just go to pull request right here. Actually, I'll go back because this is just easy. And so you can see if I make this bigger, that the changes made in my fork will be going into the changes made in the base repository. And so we can create this pull request now. And pull requests, so it shouldn't just be the name of the commit. Pull requests can include like 10 or like 50 commits. Don't do a 50 commit pull request, by the way. It should just be like four to 8 maybe. But there's etiquette behind pull requests that I don't have the time to go over, but I will reference, I have a link to an article written by our National Director of Engineering, Ben Holmes. He made a really great article about pull request etiquette, and that'll be shown at the end of the slides. But for now, like just pretend that I have a really good pull request, great description, just top of the line pull request. You can then press create pull request, and then they should be able to merge. Yep. And then I have this button. I don't think you all will have this ability to do this. I'm like an owner on this account. So I have the ability to merge it because it's mergeable. But usually what will happen then is you'll request a code review. So you can go here, assign someone to like review your pull request, see if it works. So I'll just request Elena and Ethan. And yeah, they can leave comments.
Tab, actually. Oh, sorry.
Oh, go ahead.
You hit the assign button. It's actually the reviewers tab on the top.
Oh, yeah. Sorry about that.
It'll actually suggest people to review your code. If you were editing code that someone else wrote, it would say, hey, that person wrote this code originally. They should probably review your changes. So just go with the suggestion most of the time. But,
okay.
Oh,
yeah. Sorry. Yeah. Reviewers was right on top. Ben, I didn't even know you were here.
Like a ghost.
Cool. Yeah. So reviewers go there. Sorry, not assignees. So thank you for that, Ben. And yeah, so then from there you can merge your pull request. This is an awful pull request, so I'm not going to merge it, but pull requests live here. We can already see that Cole Perry, one of our Cal Poly software developers, has already made a pull request with his grocery site. I'm not going to go into it, but yeah, it's great. So this is where for your first bootcamp kind of assignment, where you're kind of making your initial grocery site, you will do the process of making a fork, cloning that fork, adding your changes, and then coming up in here and making a pull request. But yeah, I hope that makes sense. And I think that's it for the demo. Does anyone have any questions before we go back to the slides? Okay. Cool. So like I said, recommended reading right here, plugging Ben Holmes' article. Let me get rid of this. And here you can just see, we'll share the slides after, so you don't have to type this link. The slides will be shared after this, so you can just click this link. But it basically talks about best Git and GitHub practices for teams, and it's opinionated. So yeah, and then sources, we have all of our sources that we used in the speaker notes. And like I said, we'll be sharing these slides so you guys can all have access to those. But yeah, I think that is it for our presentation.
Hey, Eric, would you mind posting that link in the chat?
Yeah, you mean this one?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'll throw a link in here as well. That link and a few other things are on the engineering resources page. It's like the national page for, I don't know, all the guys we have right now. And I'll just post that here. It'll link out to that thing. It's what Bits of Good uses as well, the Georgia Tech chapter. But yeah, this page has some comments about commit messages. It's a really short little thing about how to format a nice commit message. And then I believe, yeah, at the right below it is the GitHub best practices stuff. And that is like pull requests, as you mentioned.